Hey guys, if you're watching this video, that means you're probably interested in knowing how to get high-paying jobs on truck load boards. That's right. So in this video, we're going to give you the strategies on how you can actually use these load boards to the best of your ability and how they actually work in the first place, right? So if you're brand new to this whole world, a load board is usually a place, it's kind of like a Craigslist, if you've ever used Craigslist before, where people put the work out there for you and you get to decide if you want to do the work or not. So just to give you an overview of exactly how load boards works is you're going to have what's called brokers, and what brokers do is they're the people who actually have the work. So they're going to be the people who say, okay, I have this load that needs to go from point A to point B, and they're going to post that on the load board itself. Now on the load board, as a truck driver or as an owner-operator, your job is then to scan the load board, try to see which loads are appealing to you, and then communicate with that broker and try to work out the best deal. And that's pretty much how a load board was designed to work. Now there's some things that most people do not know about how to use the load board to the best of their ability. Now, so let's actually talk about the logistics of it. First thing that you have to understand is if you're a truck driver, you have to decide what kind of route that you want to take. You can either stay local, which means you're going to be within a state or maybe within multiple states if you're on the East Coast. You can go regional, which means you're going to be out a few states at a time, but you're usually staying on the East Coast or West Coast or in the Central, right? Or you can just go over the road, which means you can kind of play ping pong anywhere that you want. So let's talk about the three different strategies. If you want to stay local, when you're going onto the load board, what's going to be important for you is going to be the start point and also the end point, right? So when you're going onto load board, you can actually filter by start point. So you can actually say, okay, what's the nearest load towards me? And then you're going to see, okay, for instance, here in New Jersey, we're going to look for loads that are in New Jersey and then delivering to New Jersey. Or if you want to go a little bit further, you can say, okay, I want to start in New Jersey. Maybe I want to go to Pennsylvania. I want to go to New Jersey to New York. And then you want to see all the loads that are going there, right? Or you can just do a wide search and say, okay, what are the loads coming out of New Jersey? And then you can just search from there. You're going to start, there's also filters on how many miles that you want to travel. So then you can kind of do your range that way. When it comes to picking the right load for you, you have to understand what your costs are and what your costs are per mile. So that's going to be a super important thing to really understand. No matter what the market is saying, you have to understand your costs, and you also have to understand that you must operate at more than your cost if you want to make money. Now, the one thing that you do have to understand is different routes are going to pay different things. So usually if you're coming out of the East Coast going west, the rates are going to be lower. From the West Coast to the East, or maybe from Central to East, the rates are going to be a lot higher, simply because of supply and demand. So the East Coast is big consumers. Here on the East Coast, we don't usually make too many different products, right? So that being said, if there's a little bit of factory, that means that there's not enough stuff getting made here that has to get transported out. Now, what does the East Coast do? East Coast actually buys a lot of things, which means there's a lot of warehouses here, but a lot of stuff is shipping into the warehouse, which means there is less supply out there, maybe in Ohio or something, right? And there's a lot of people who want to buy in the East Coast, so from Ohio to the East Coast, it makes a lot of money because you're able to come on over and people are willing to buy. But once you're here, since it's a big destination for a lot of truck drivers when it comes to big shippers, once you're here, you have a whole lot of competition of truck drivers all fighting for the same loads, so they're actually able to pay you less. So that's one thing that you definitely have to understand when you're actually going into the load board itself. So that's pretty much the idea when it comes to the small local guys. When you want to go regional over the road, what you want to do is, okay, if I am now in this area, it's very important that you decide where you want to go. So understanding on how the routes work when it comes to like East Coast to West Coast, or like a famous route is New Jersey, New York to Chicago, right? From here, from New Jersey, New York to Chicago is going to pay them a lot less than from Chicago to here, simply because that Chicago area is going to be high manufacturing, which means a lot of stuff can come on back this way. So you have to understand when you are picking your routes, sometimes it's just easier if you break even going one way, knowing that you're going to make the profit coming back this way. And we'll go over in detail exactly what that means in future videos. If that's something that you're interested in, make sure you comment below. But what's going to be important for you, for instance, on regional, you pretty much want to stay in a local region that you kind of like that truck lane. And the lanes are going to be changing when it comes to season. So for instance, as it gets closer to the summertime, Florida is big for oranges, watermelons, and things like that, which means that you can actually start going north to south when it comes to that route. If you're looking to just go over the road and make as much money as possible, you can use the load boards a whole different way, and all you're doing there is, okay, where am I at? What's the highest paying load? I don't care where it goes. And now all of a sudden, now you're jumping around all over the country. There's definitely guys who play at that game too. So there's pretty much 3 different ways you can play with the load board. 1, you can just look for the highest rate, highest paying load. You're going to now jump from location to location in the country itself. 2, you can actually focus on the lane itself that you feel comfortable with. Try a few different ones to see what the economics actually look like. And then 3, if you want to stay local, definitely want to make sure that you're staying within a certain mile radius, so then you can be home on a daily basis. You can still make some pretty good money doing that as well. All right. Now, once you actually pick the load, next step is going to be to try to lock the load down. So I've been on both sides of this conversation where we're actually the trucking company trying to call the broker. Understand that that broker is getting called by a whole bunch of different trucking companies at the same time. You're not the only one calling him, but there is room for negotiation. Whatever that broker says is usually not his final price, so you can always try to push him up a little bit more. Very rarely do you actually just take the price that they give you, right? And that's where the good negotiations come in. I've also been on the broker side where I've posted a load and all of a sudden we get bombarded with phone calls, and then understanding that we actually give it a little bit lower price, so then we can kind of let them feel like they won a little bit on us, and we're able to just get the deal going. Pretty much at the end of the day, it's all about can you get there on time, right? That's super important, and can you get it at the price that you're still going to make a profit as a trucking company, all right? I know we talked about a whole lot, but I hope that this was definitely informative. If you did like this content, make sure you comment below so we can talk more about it. And the goal is to get you on the road to freedom. Here in this country, you're going to need money to do that because you need options. And the more you know how to negotiate, the more you know how to use the load boards, and the more you know the strategies behind it, the easier it's going to be for you to make the money that you want to make, no matter what the economy has, no matter how bad or how good the actual load boards say they are. There's a whole bunch of work out there available for you. You just have to make sure that you stay positive, have the right strategy, and you're ready to rock and roll. So if you're interested in learning more about getting a CDL license, maybe you don't even have one of those yet, that's where we come in here at Driving Academy. We're here to help you out up until the day you die with lifetime job placement. Plus, we also guarantee that you get the CDL license. If you want to find out more about that, visit our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. Again, cdldrivingacademy.com. Thanks. Have a great day. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel. It's really going to help us out. Click on that button. And if you want to continue yourself on your road to freedom, here's more videos to watch. There's endless amounts. Hopefully we get to see each other one day very soon. Thanks.